All right, CNT 120, Chapter 1 Lab. We are now on Part 2, or Layer 2. So in Part 1, we did the physical cabling of our laptop into the network like we would have in a real network, real situation. We are now going to do the same thing for the Harrisburg PC. All right, so for the Harrisburg PC, Harrisburg side of the network, we're going to click on the physical tab over here, just like before. Let's get a straight through cable and cable our Harrisburg PC into our outlet box. So I'm going to click on the Harrisburg PC, and I'll notice that there's an RS-232 port, that's a serial port, and I see USBs. I don't see a fast Ethernet port. I don't see a network port. It must mean there's no NIC in this PC. Okay, so I'm going to use the escape key to drop my patch cable there. And I have to remember the function of layer 2 is really that connection into the network. And it has things like our network card and MAC address. Okay, these are some things that are associated with layer 2. So in this case, it looks like this PC does not have a network card in. So let's take a look at the PC. I'm going to click on the PC. It brings up a view of the PC. This is basically a tower PC. As I scroll down, I'll see that there's an empty port here. The network card is not in it. It's not installed. Alright, that's why it didn't let me plug into it. There was nothing to plug into. So I'm going to shut the power off in the PC. I'm going to come over here on the left. These are different network adapters, network modules, if you will. And I'm going to do a network module here, one copper fast Ethernet, one port copper fast Ethernet. When I click on that, it shows up down here is basically a network port, a network card. I'm going to click and drag that into the PC, and I'll snap it in place, and then I'll turn my PC back on. So that just installed a network card into this guy. Yahoo! All right. I'm going to close that. I'm going to go back to here. Now that I have that, let's try connecting again to see if we get a fast Ethernet port. So I'm going to get my copper straight through, connect onto the PC. Oh, I get a fast Ethernet now. Yes, now that there's a network card installed, I actually have a network port. So I will click on that. I'll drag up here, and I'm going to click on, I'll use jack 1. And now that that's plugged into the wall outlet, if you remember previously, we patched all 4 of those network drops in. So this immediately comes up with a blinky green link light. So the physical layer link on this PC has now been made as well. So these two PCs, their physical layer link has now been made. Yay! Okay. So let's go back to the logical tab up here. And again, I might need to move this until it shows up correctly. Don't let that panic you. Once I do that now, I see that both of these are physically connected, and I have a green blinky link light. My layer 1 has been established. Good. Well, now that I have layer 1 established on both, let's now look at layer 2. Well, layer 2 is my network card, and the address that's burnt into my network card is my MAC address. So we're going to take a look at the MAC address. If we can see the MAC address, we can see layer 2, and I'm using little air quotes around my C layer 2. So I'm going to open up the Harrisburg PC. Let's go to the desktop here, and this is kind of like a real basic desktop. Let's open up our command prompt, and we're going to use a command. Right here it is, ipconfig/all. That'll show us all the configuration on this network card, on this PC. So I'm going to do ipconfig /all. That's the syntax. Watch your syntax there. A simple typo and it won't work. This is now showing me all of my IP configuration on this PC. You notice more is down here. I'm going to use the space bar to finish showing the output. Here's my Bluetooth information, which I'm not really interested in. I'm interested in the fast Ethernet. That's my network card that I just installed. So here is my network properties. I should say the properties of my network card. And what I'm really interested in on this one is the physical layer address. This right here, the 00E0 F976 2E3D on mine. Yours might be different depending on the network card you might have used. So your number might be a little bit different because these are unique for each PC. There is the MAC address of my PC. That is from my network card. That is my layer 2 address, if you will. Some of this addressing stuff I'm talking about, we're going to get into in more detail in Chapter 3, so don't let that panic you too much. I'm just getting the connection out here that this is something layer 2 related. So if I'm able to see this, I know I'm seeing layer 2 information. All right, so now that we've looked at layer 2, let's gather that information and start gathering proof from our lab, if you will. So I'm going to open up a text file. For me, I'm going to use TextEdit on my machine. If you're on a Windows machine, you can use like Notepad. This is a real simple text file, real small value. It loads into D2L easily. It displays easily in D2L. So this is probably the easiest thing to use. If you were to use Microsoft Word, that's fine. But this is even easier or simpler to use. So I'm going to open this guy up, and I'm going to do a quick, I'm going to do a save on this guy right off the bat. And I'm going to save him to my desktop so I can find it. I'm going to call him something like CNT120. I'll call him Chapter 1 Lab. Something of that effect will work. That way you know what it is. So I'm saving out to my desktop. And the first thing I want is I'm going to record my layer 2 address. And I'll put in here that this is from my Harrisburg PC. Oops. And I might even do this. I might even put up here CNT120 Chapter 1 Lab, just so I remember that that's what it is. Okay, so from here now, I'm going to highlight this physical address. And I can even highlight these first couple lines. That's fine. And I'm going to right-click copy. If you're a Mac user, you might need to do a control-click to get your right-click. I'll do a copy, and I'll go to my text file, and I'm going to paste this in. And there is my Fast Ethernet connection, my layer 2 address, or my MAC address from my Harrisburg PC. So there is that layer 2 proof, or my proof of my layer 2 from my network. All right. Now, while I'm here, I have that proof, so I'm not going to lose that. But I looked at the Harrisburg PC. Let's look at the laptop and do a real quick comparison. This one ended up in, T2E3D. Let's go over to laptop over here. Let's go to desktop, command prompt, ipconfig /all. And this one ends in 5A, BA5A. There you go, BA5A. These are unique to every network card or in every PC for that matter. So there's my layer 2 address on this laptop. And if I were to keep going over here on the Philadelphia PC, same thing. I'm going to see unique addresses the whole way across the board. Oh my goodness. There we go. This one is C52B coming over here. This one is .9EDA. These are all unique addresses coming from that MAC address is coming from the network card that is in each one of these units, each one of these PCs. All right, so there is my layer 2 from my network and my MAC address. Next podcast, we're going to take a look at layer 3.